Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow. Welcome to another episode of Church at Risk Live, the radio show. Happy Friday for those of you who are hearing this on a Friday, the actual live show, or happy Sunday. We say blessed Sunday because now Church at Risk is on Storm Talk 365 twice. So we air Fridays at 12 o'clock and Sunday afternoon so that those of you that have enjoyed church can then listen to church at risk and understand how precious and valuable the services that you attended are, the people that serve you are, and your contribution to the community through church is. Okay, so this is Michelle Rhett, your girl, aka the Holy Ghost Amplifier, and I am delighted to be here and share with you Church at Risk Live. It's always a pleasure, and I thank all of you for listening. To my faithful followers on Facebook, Twitter, and soon to be Periscope, to my faithful followers on YouTube, and shout out, of course, to Storm Talk 365, the beautiful Miss Benita Claiborne and Janice Wilson. I thank all of the podcasters on that radio station as well. To my new co-host of our new show beginning this fall, Coach Ellis Crump. Big shout out to you, brother. Amen. I just thank you guys so very much. I have a huge announcement. And that is that I have a new radio show on KTGDS Radio, ktgdsradio.com. Yes, it's another internet station out of California. And I will be hosting a live show on Mondays at 1 p.m. beginning this Monday. Ooh, Monday, July 24th, it goes down, the Michelle Rhett Show. Yes, I'm not excited about the title, y'all, but the Michelle Rhett Show starts on Monday, July 24th, airing live on KTGDS Radio, and will air live or air over again on that station as well. We're going to have so many guests on the Michelle Rhett Show. It is really a show where you get to understand what I do, how I do it, how the Lord has blessed me, and how I intend to use those blessings to empower the people of God. The show is consistent with, of course, our Monday's television show that's coming to you soon. The pilot is coming through YouTube, so there'll be 6 episodes on YouTube before we actually go into a studio. Mondays with Michelle coming this fall. We are very, very excited about it, excited about the launch. It should start about September. We thought we were going to start it in the summer, but it's going to probably start about September. But some of the pilots will be available next month in August. So as the branding is getting done, you can rest assured that the shows are being taped. We're going to be taping about 6 of those shows outside. So, of course, we need the perfect weather. It's taped early in the morning for those of you who have ever done a movie or ever done a taping that's outside. As a former model, we used to do tapings on the beach, tapings in the woods, so you have to have the right elements. So right now on the East Coast where I am, it is extremely hot. So mornings are 70, 80 degrees. And so that's just not conducive to me and my brown skin. I hope y'all feel me, but the brown skin can't handle it. This is brown sugar, baby. So, so we won't be doing any tapings for the month of July. And so in August, we'll start the tapings and we will share them with you. And we invite your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear what you think about Mondays with Michelle. It is a show about miracles. We each day miss so many miracles, and being a miracle myself and having a miracle healing from the Lord, I wanted to share miracles with you. And I was asked to do a television show. For those of you who don't know, I was asked to do a television show for Public Access Network almost 2.5 years ago. And I was very eager to learn. I still have lots of classes and lots of training to get through, but I was very eager to learn, but I did not want to do a television show. I just wanted to learn more about it. And of course, the Lord put it on my heart that this was where my life was returning to. So I'm very honored and humbled by all of you who have encouraged me to go forward with the show. If I can make one person smile and one person realize that every aspect of their life is a miracle and that they should owe all the glory to the God above, then I have done my purpose. And so I'm all about fulfilling my life's purpose, as some of you know. Hey, for those of you that haven't gotten it, you need to get your copy of the book, The Resurrection of Passion. It is still available. It is just came out in February, so it's very available. The tour is, we're doing just incremental tours, as I told some of you, just 5 cities. And so we'll have book signings in 5 cities. And so very small tour, because I have another book that's coming out as well. And so we will actually combine those tours. I do have a new book coming out. I cannot tell you the title of it. I want to say it so bad. Oh my goodness, I'm just trying to hold it in. But yes, I have a new book coming out soon. So that said, I am headed Church at Risk Live. Church at Risk, the training, is headed to Oakland, California, to the Lily of the Valley Christian Center in Oakland under the direction of Bishop Anthony Willis and First Lady Yvonne Willis. We are headed there for the Prophetic Conference 2017, July 26th through July 28th. And I am so excited to be presenting Church at Risk on Thursday, July 27th. I'll be teaching a class for an hour, and then I'm teaching again on Friday, I think for 1 or 2 hours, Church at Risk, to about 150 churches in the Bay Area. So I am indeed excited. I love California. I love visiting California. It was a place I used to live for a few months, and so I actually love it. So I am excited to head back. If you want more information on the Prophetic Conference 2017, the theme this year is Back to Basics. And definitely Church at Risk is basics, what you need to learn before you run a church, go to church, volunteer in a church, right? So for more information, go to the website, www.pureministriesfellowship.org. Say that again for you. pureministriesfellowship.org to get more information on the 2017 Prophetic Conference from the Lily of the Valley Christian Center and their churches. Thank you so much for this enormous opportunity. So I look forward to seeing all of you in the Bay Area, and I look forward to sharing some of the conference with those of you as I experience it. I'm going to actually share a little bit on my Facebook page and on my Twitter page, and so I will share some of that with you. Today we have a very, very important topic that I want to talk to you about for the next 20 minutes or so, and then I'll be out of your hair until we speak again. But I'd like to talk to you about the topic of music. Music. I don't think that there has been a bigger area, of course, in any religion than music, and definitely not a bigger area in the law when we talk about religion. Some of the greatest violations are when we talk about music and the use of someone else's music. So I'm going to be talking about copyright laws and licensing today. And the name of the show is called Singing in the Comeback Choir. And so I just thought, I thought that would be a great title because it was a title of a book many, many years ago, for those of you that remember. And so I thought that since this is all about stealing people's music and using people's music without authorization, I know that I can mention a title. So I'm going to steal someone else's title, Singing in the Comeback Choir. But before we go to that, we want to remind you that registration is open for the 2017 Church at Risk National Summit. Yeah, November 9th through the 11th, 2017, Renaissance Capitol View Hotel in Arlington, Virginia, the Church at Risk National Summit. This year's theme, it's a thin line between church and state, exploring the blurred lines of the law and religion. We invite all of you to be there. It is going to be a dynamic event. And there's just one event I'm going to talk to you before we go to our today's schedule. And that is Thursday. Much of the summit, what I love about it is that you can come to just one event. You don't have to register for the entire summit. Our opening event is generally our most attended. And so we want to encourage you to meet us on Thursday night, November 9th, for the evening lecture series, which will be talking about the lines that divide. This is the gathering, what we call the all-inclusive gathering of Christians, Muslims, and Jews coming together to talk about the issues that divide the church and the issues and the plight that each one of the communities have had in this country, so that all of the audience can see the commonalities that each face. That is so critical. We have got to start recognizing that we are our brother's keeper. That is something that is critical. We've got to start recognizing that what happens to Muslims is happening to Christians. What happens to Christians is happening to Jews. What happens to Jews is happening to everybody else. And so we've got to come to terms in the field, what I call faith communities. We have got to come to terms that we are our brother's keeper, and that we have an obligation through the God we serve to be very, very concerned about what happens to others in other faith communities. And so that is the night we're going to do it. There is an opening reception with mocktails. There is a performance. There's a concert that night by the Singing Sensations Youth Choir of Baltimore. There are representatives from the Christian, Muslim, and Jewish communities. And we're also going to have a representative representing the Love community. So we are very, very excited to say to you that Pastor Lance Watson will be representing the Christian community. Pastor Lance Watson, as we all know and love him, is from the St. Paul's Baptist Church in Richmond, Virginia. Shout out to him. Oh my God, his ministry is profound. If you haven't heard it, you need to go to YouTube. You need to look a brother up. Pastor Lance Watson will be representing the Christian community, and we will be announcing the representatives for the Muslim community next week. So we're very excited about that. Representing the community of love. That is those areas of life, such as lifestyles that we need to embrace in the church. We will have Deborah Barr, or Minister Deborah Barr from Deborah Barr Ministries. She's out of First Baptist Church of Glenarden. Big shout out to Pastor John Jenkins and the crew. But Deborah Barr is a world-renowned speaker and author who we will have on this show very soon. And we just signed her on yesterday. She is an incredible ministry that we have been focusing on for quite a while. And so she has gone all over the world teaching communities how to deal with the LGBT community, how to respond, how to interact, how to deal, how to love. Very, very, very incredible ministry. And we will have her book for sale. Her best-selling book is what we're going to call it. She writes not just books, but she also writes, like we do, training materials on how you deal with the LGBT community. What is your response as a Christian community? This is so important. I can't tell you that there's any session that you can't come to. Then I want you to show up on Thursday. Thursday has a separate ticket price. You can join us for the pre-conference ceremonies, the workshops that we're going to have during the day, which are powerhouse bonus sessions. So we reward those who register early. We reward those who come early. So we have these bonus sessions featuring Dr. Sharon Sauls from Be-Led Consulting, Angela Thornton, or Elder Angela Thornton from Wise Word Ministries, myself, Bishop Rosetta Bryson, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, a former director of ministry affairs for the Washington, D.C. area. Absolutely incredible speakers that day will be present. We're going to be talking about all of the critical issues. Our website, www.churchnationalsummit, has part of that agenda there. We are finalizing the agenda for the month of August. And so in August, you'll be able to see Thursday, Friday's Empowerment Day. And so our 3 days have titles. Thursday is called Unite. That is our Unity Day, where we're asking people of all faiths, all cultures, all ethnicities to join us at the Capitol Renaissance Hotel for the summit. On Friday, we're asking everyone to stay if you'd like, because we have a room with a view designated for you. So register, and book your room through the Renaissance Capital View Hotel. But Friday is our dialogue day. That is where we come together to talk about what's really affecting us, where we're teaching more. So it's our empowerment series. We call that the day of dialogue. So Thursday is the day of unity. Friday is the day of dialogue. And on Saturday, our last day, is the day of defend. So we talk about it's time to unite, it's time to dialogue, and it's time to defend. On Saturday, we will talk about actual cases and have people here from the front line. So our greatest plenary session is Saturday morning, where we talk about actually live lawsuits that either the church is bringing, or that have been brought against the church, or that have been brought against the faith-based community, or religious persecution and religious discrimination. All of those types of cases. This is where you're going to hear about U.S. versus Sterling, the most potential case, the most explosive case, that's coming before the Supreme Court regarding the military and your right to display religious paraphernalia in the military. Big decision. We will have many people from the military present. We will have Army chaplains, Navy chaplains. We'll have the chaplaincy there. We'll have a lot of military officers, former military officers, military police. So we want to make sure that you avail yourself to this dynamic event. And let me tell you right now, we already know now that it's going to sell out. So you want to register right now. We have a special. For those of you that know that, we have a special. The first 150 people, and space is limited. The first 150 people will be able to register for half price. So $249 for 3 full days, including our Friday night gala, the Honors Awards Friday night, and our scholarship brunch, which is being held on Saturday. Okay, and we're going to tell you more about those as the weeks go. So I just want to talk a little bit about music, because I love to sing. You love to sing. Some of us that can't even sing love to sing. This is a huge issue, and let me tell you why. I just talked to a very prominent person, and I asked them, they're on tour right now, and I said, well, how's it going? And they said the tour's going pretty good. And I said, I'm sure you have a licensing agreement for the songs that your choir sings. And the individual said, nope, we're just singing other people's songs. We're not recording them. That is one of the biggest misconceptions with regard to licensing and with regard to copyright law. It doesn't matter whether you're just singing them. If you're in your house and you're just singing music, no, you don't need a licensing agreement, friends. When you need a licensing agreement is when somebody else is hearing you. Someone else is hearing you because you don't know who is sitting there recording what you're singing. We've got people who sit in church now paying no attention, fully recording the entire service. And so if they're recording the entire service, they're recording the music that is used during that service. And therein lies the problem, because there are legal restrictions on when you can distribute music, when you can distribute someone else's property. And so oftentimes, most music that you hear today anywhere is copywritten. So it falls under the copyright laws of 1976. And those of us that are authors, such as myself, that have books out, that have several books out, one of the things we think about is we often tell people that you cannot use anything in a Church at Risk book without the permission, the express permission of Epi Books, the publisher, or either myself, the owner, the writer. So it's got to be the express permission of the person that wrote it, or the person or the company that houses the license. So the publishing house can actually give you express permission. But we have got to, as a church, as a people of God, and we're talking about churches, who we see the biggest violators, churches, schools, and nonprofits. They just typically don't know that they need a licensing agreement, and they're easy to get. You can go on the internet and get a specific license agreement, okay? Because when we're talking about licensing, we're talking about anytime you're storing lyrics, you're recording services. So anytime you record a service at church, and you have to think, the church may not be recording it. Someone sitting in the church may be recording it. So you would be better off to get a license. Anytime you print songs, I remember going to choir rehearsal, and we always got the lyrics printed. And so you didn't have to worry about it. You always got the lyrics. Have you wondered why certain choirs do not hand you the lyrics in writing? Duh. Yeah, that's someone else's property. You cannot print copywritten material without permission. You can't just take a musical hymnal book, such as the one that Nolan Williams did. You can't take that and basically have it Xerox and then distribute it to your choir members. That's illegal. That's copyright infringement. It violates the rights of the person that wrote it. You have to get those rights. And for like the hymnals or the spirituals from older days, you get the rights from the publishing house. So I always tell people, make sure you have a licensing with BMI because they're probably the largest holder of music. So you want to make sure you have something. If you're going to have choir rehearsals and you're going to be singing music from various times of history, you want to make sure that you have a licensing agreement so that you can use the hymnals. That's very, very important. It's talking about when you're distributing them. So when you start distributing lyrics and printing them out and Xeroxing them, you got a problem. When you project lyrics up on a screen, people don't realize that's covered too. That's covered as well. What about custom arrangements? You take a song like Ed Sheeran's Think It Out Loud. You take that and you rearrange it. You make it a little jazzy, You say, I'm going to sing it a little bit different. And I'm going to add a couple of scores to it. That is changing someone's legal right, their licensing. That's changing their ownership rights by making it in a different version. I know that a few years ago when Adele came out with the song Hello, there was a reggae group that did Hello as well. They didn't change it. They just put a different background of music to it. And they were all over the place. It became so popular. This is a DC band. They were all over the place. They were singing the song everywhere. And my whole thing was, I pray they have a general licensing agreement. I think Adele is the type of person that, her voice when she sings, everyone buys. So she sells billions of copies. And so I think for that sake, she might have said, okay, that's okay. I sold billions of copies day one. It went to, on YouTube, if those of you know, the video went to billions in a few days. Probably the fastest grossing video or fastest watched video of all times. And so Adele is known for that. And so possibly because they live in the UK, they may think, well, it's okay. As long as these people aren't going to make half. They're not even going to make a fourth. They're not even going to make a tenth of what Adele makes off of her music. But you want to be careful because it's just those artists that you think are not going to do anything about it that are going to come after you. And it's not the artists themselves. I need you guys to understand that. It's not necessarily the artist. It's generally going to be the label, the record label, that will come after you. And they are starting to crack down on churches. Because churches are huge violators. Oh, we're just singing to the glory of God. We don't own it. Somebody else owns it. But we're singing to the glory of God. And they think in their minds, and that should be okay. But it's not. So I encourage you all to make sure that you understand if you are using music of any sort. And I'm going to talk about what we're talking about here. What requires a license? Okay, so let's talk about what requires a license so that you can understand. Anytime you show a film or video in your church that someone else produced, it requires a licensing agreement unless they send it to you. So if Tyler Perry sends you something, this is my next movie, please broadcast it through your churches, which he's known to do. That's fine. The owner sent it to you, but you can't just take one of his films and just start broadcasting across the church. You can broadcast in your house. That's private consumption. That's not covered under the copyright law. But when you start sharing it with friends and family and guests, then you have a copyright issue. So showing films, number one, playing or performing music. I don't know how many times we can say this. We've got choirs just jump up and sing anything they want. And then that's why some people think, well, why does this church always sing old music? Because they know that if they touch some of this new music, they're going to be in trouble. Because these new record labels are fierce. They are adamant that they do not want this music downloaded. There is an artist, Jacqueline Carr. Many people, you can go on and you can download their music. You pay for it and you can download it. I recognize that in the Life Project, Jacqueline Carr, you could not download the album. If you paid for the album, which I did, I paid for it through Amazon, but Amazon makes it very clear that you cannot download her stuff. You couldn't download it. Whereas when I bought Travis Hill's Travis Green's The Hill, I was able to purchase it. And then instead of waiting for it to come to my house in 2 days as an Amazon Prime member, I was able to purchase it, and then I was able to download it immediately and start listening to the music. Tried that with Jacqueline Carr. Won't work. These are restrictions that the record labels are putting on their music to stop us from downloading and then sharing it with 50,000 people without them paying the artist for their work. And I congratulate Jacqueline Carr, and I congratulate her father, who is her manager, for taking this step, because it is out of control. It is out of control the way we in certain communities, hint, hint, I'm not saying any names, but we in certain communities love to steal other people's music, steal other people's product, steal other people's livelihood, and consider it our own. And so we've got to break down on this. And so that's why we're talking about copyright laws, y'all. I still love you, but I got to get you with this one. So we're talking about showing films, playing or performing music. What about downloading songs and lyrics? That's covered. It covers what you can do with the download. What you can download and sing it and send it out to people. Copying music. We talked about that. Xeroxing and copying. Reproducing music. Distributing words. We talked about that. Okay, so what is the law on file sharing? So say you download something, you may be protected in a sense. There's an exception to the copyright law that we call format shifting, and that's when you take something in one format and you download it in turn, like a media file or digital media, and you make a personal backup of it, and then the way you back it up is different than the way it actually was. So this was a video, and when you downloaded it, you only use it as an audio, and that's what you listen to. So you've shifted the original format. Okay, so the law basically says that's an exception only when it's for private consumption. When you are just using it for private purposes, I'm just going to listen to this myself. I'm not going to share it with anyone else. So I will tell you that that's the thin line here, is that if it's for private consumption, you can do it. The problem is it's illegal to share that format that you have shifted to your family and friends. That is illegal. And so I don't know how else to say it. So what is the law on file sharing? Because a lot of people know about, they want to share stuff with everybody as soon as they get it. And they don't understand that there may be some laws that prohibit what you're about to do. So the law on file sharing applies to distribution by anyone except the rightful owner. The owner or reseller, that's the label. That's someone that's been authorized to sell. That's Amazon. That's Amazon, that's eBay, that's all the sellers, that's the affiliate marketers on the internet. Those people, this doesn't apply to, but you can distribute, they can distribute it, but not anyone else, unless they have a license or they have the express permission of the owner. And those are the only two exceptions. And this covers anything that you distribute through email, anything you distribute through a website, anything you distribute through YouTube or any of the social media sites, and anything that you distribute through a storage device. You actually send it and it's on a link. It's, pull up the link, or I've sent you a fob. I'm calling it a fob, so y'all forgive me because I can't remember what it's called. But, I'm sending it to you, and I've got it, and I've sent it to you in another format, and I'm sharing it. This stuff is illegal. I don't know how many times that I can say to you, this stuff is illegal, and I want you guys to be careful because they're really cracking down on this. Okay, they're cracking down. You cannot just take someone's music. You cannot just take someone's book and decide you're just going to write up a whole bunch of stuff out of it without getting that express permission. And don't be alarmed, because you never know what you take, the value of it. You could say, oh, this book was this is what I heard someone say. So I'm going to share this with you guys as we end. The person said that they used the entire 2 pages of a person's book because the person self-published a book and they didn't think the book was going anywhere. And then a couple of years later, they found out that they were being sued. And they were trying to understand. Nobody wanted that book. She self-published that book. Blah, blah, blah. Self-publishing is one of the biggest publishing industries today. Okay? So you need to get something straight. The publishing industry, the traditional publishing industry, where you get an agent and the agent represents you through 3 or 4 different licensing agreements, because the agreement with the author is generally not with who you think it is. The agreement with the author is generally with the agent, and then the agent has an agreement with the publishing house has an agreement with the author, and then it skips. Distribution has an agreement with the publishing house. You see what's going on? So the author's agreement is not necessarily with all of the entities. The author's agreement is whoever connects that author to that entity. Okay, so that's how the authorship agreement works. And we're going to talk a little bit about that because, of course, as a published author, so many people ask me to talk about publishing rights. And so I'm going to stay on this. I think next week, guys, we're going to talk about music some more because I didn't get a chance to finish. I was finished what I wanted to talk to you guys about, but I realized that this is a lot of information for many people. So we're going to talk about more about copyright next week, okay? I think that would be something that you guys will enjoy, and I'm going to go from music and go into writing books because that is critically important. But this woman who stole the writing out of another person's published book, y'all remember that. Basically what happened is the book became a bestseller, and when the book became a bestseller, at some point, the publisher decided to go back and get a whole bunch of people, and she was one of them. You have to be careful because the law doesn't care about the value that you perceive something is. You could say, oh, nobody read this mess. You know, nobody's ever heard of it. It's not on the New York Times bestseller list. You are a fool. There's no other word for it because you do not know what we call sleeper. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be on the New York Times bestseller list. When you open up any published material, it's going to tell you that copywriting is not allowed under the Copyright Act of 1976. So I'm going to talk a little bit in the beginning of next week's show about the Copyright Act of 1976, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit on music, and I want to go into book publishing and tell you about the complexities of publishing because that's a huge legal issue that I get a question for, and I think I'm going to actually do a little book on that to help you guys as well. So alrighty, I've come to the end of the show. I'm so glad we had this time together. If I had a voice, I would actually sing for you right now, that Carol Burnett song. Miss B would love it and I'd sing to you, but I'm not going to do it because I got a licensing agreement, okay? All right, I'm just joking, y'all. I'm just joking. Well, listen, thank you so much for listening. This is Church at Risk Live, the radio show with your host, Michelle Rhett, the Holy Ghost Amplifier. Looking forward to seeing you again, to basically speaking to you again. If you hear that I'm in your area, I'll let you know all the time. Come and see me. Shake my hand. Let me know you love me. And I let you know every single week that I love you, that I'm wishing the best for you. Not wishing, but I am decreeing that the best shall expose itself into your life. And every day, divine favor will surround you like a shield. God bless you. Be blessed. I thank you for listening. Bye-bye.